It's tea time, ladies and gents.
Yeah.
In this episode, we have lots of space. Firing our camera guy.
Yeah.
Damn him.
Yeah. Get out! Yeah.
Who are you looking at? It's not me.
Yeah. It's your number one boys, Denny and James.
Yo. We're cool. We're cool dudes.
So what do we got today, Denny?
Some very verdant, good-looking, high mountain, Lishan Mountain, I believe.
Yep.
Oolongs. Oolongs. Oh.
And this is from Tributary Teas. I have not tried any teas from them before. I think they're a relatively new operation. How's that smell?
So sweet. Beautiful corn sweetness. Kind of like cornbread.
Cornbread. There
You heard it first, folks. Cornbread. This is the cornbread oolong.
Does
That's
it?
probably a good sounding brand new name. Why not?
It could be a little corny.
Some people
but,
like.
Yeah.
Some people like that it's a little corny.
So does this smell like a high mountain oolong to you?
For sure. Yeah.
Okay.
Floral, sweet, verdant.
Yeah.
We'll get maybe a little bit notes of potentially some grassiness or some hayiness.
Right.
Will come from the fact that this hasn't really been roasted, whereas you'll lose some of those notes, some of the crispness.
Indeed,
from
very verdant.
from the roast.
Yeah.
God, it just smells so good. Mom test passed already. Seriously, it smells amazing. I mean, this is the kind of tea that I fell in love with.
Mom smelled it in the other room, and she's joining for tea.
Ah!
Yeah, she can hang out in our headspace.
Werewolf.
Yeah.
Action blur cut.
Yeah.
We're back.
Yeah, it's
Anyway.
just like you in a wig.
Yeah. We can do that.
Yeah.
We have our CGI guys. They're good.
Yeah, they're better than our headspace guys.
Yeah. So yeah, and I mean, this brings me back to the first times drinking tea with James for sure, and tons of times drinking tea with James. This is always a crowd favorite. Hard to mess up.
Yeah.
And
Cue the laugh track for the crowd. They're
And
cheering behind us.
really just yummy overall.
Yeah.
So the trick with this tea mostly just not to burn yourself.
Yeah. Yeah. Cheers.
Cheers. Oh. Already getting a great texture on it, but that'll only improve.
Right. That sort of buttery, creamy thing going on.
Yeah, really nice. Oh, man. It's almost too bad that sort of point in the day where you've just had too much tea. You know that you're not going to be experiencing it quite like the first sips. You gotta retire and wait.
Yeah.
In waiting until the next tea day. Like a vampire.
Yes, it is good to moderate your tea drinking. Too much tea, there is such a thing. But a tea like this, I agree with what Danny said earlier. Very forgiving, very easy to brew.
Right.
Very difficult to get bitter. This would probably pass your ultralight challenge, I'm guessing, too.
This is the perfect tea. Maybe one that like a lightly roasted dong ding would be also incredible. But just because those roasts sometimes these verdant Taiwanese jade oolongs can get strong enough if you leave them long enough, certainly, so you can reach that point. Whereas a roasted oolong, it just doesn't ever get quite
even more
enough.
Forgiving.
Yeah.
And this tea, Lishan, one of the highest mountains, it can occupy a pretty big range. So generally speaking, some of those teas can also be very forgiving if you brew it pretty hard. And they can actually taste quite good under the long brew. Yeah,
it really just depends. Grandpa style, again, you want to make sure to use the right amount of leaf for the amount of time you anticipate the leaf being in the water. So if you think you're going to drink it quickly, with your friends passing it around, for example, you could maybe use more tea and just kind of go for gold, knowing that it's going to be drank up and not be steeping for as long. But you might want to use less if it's going to be just you by yourself hanging out.
Yeah.
Yep. Really tasty. The corniness of this isn't showing up nearly as much. And this is a corn sweetness that's contrasted to what I would describe a black Yunnan black tea corn, which has more of an earthy, minerally sweetness to it. Round. Right. This is a
more
crisp.
verdant.
Yeah, really just fresh floral sweetness.
Right.
Just incredible.
And so these teas generally, you want to start out with a bit more steep time, 20 seconds maybe, to just kind of open those leaves up, and then you can usually reduce the steep time.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, and while these teas are forgiving, certainly you do want to go from potentially a little bit longer of a rinse and first steeping to pretty much flash brews. And you want to judge that, again, for anyone out there, just by how open the leaves are in the brewing vessel. If you're using a thick-walled brewing vessel, leaves will probably have more heat retained, even in between the actual pores themselves, and they'll open up at that process too, from that process too. So, but you'll figure it out.
Again, these teas are very forgiving, so many ways to brew it, many of which are delicious.
Yeah, oh my God. Nice, medium to large, medium-large leaves. Not too much fruit in this. Hints of, just small hints of stuff there. I think mostly just kind of a sweet floral. I don't know. God, this just tastes like time in New Zealand to me.
Yeah.
At this point, right?
Well, that's what it is.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Definitely a great tea to introduce tea to a new tea drinker with. For sure. It's just hard for them not to like something like this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to meet the Taiwanese oolong beginner haters. I'm sure they exist, yeah.
Yeah. Maybe it's too sweet for some flavor. I mean, I'm so certain this is a genetic thing you learn from your 23andMe test, by the way.
Yeah.
Is that certain gene expressions have preference for bitter flavors or not?
Yeah.
You and I probably have a higher preference for bitter flavors, especially given how willing and interested we are in rapuer, but in coffee as well. I find those flavors that can be sometimes acrid potentially and off-putting to some people to be really interesting. And
right. So what's the 23andMe Taiwanese oolong hater gene?
If you are more of a sweet tooth person, I think this tea is going to be extra great for you.
Yeah. Maybe some people won't like certain versions of this, the way it's brewed.
Yeah.
It could be too light or something.
Yeah.
I don't know.
One of my favorite parts of these green jade oolongs in general, too, is the velvetiness of the texture on the mouthfeel on the cup.
Yeah.
And they don't need too much heat. They're just a full-bodied... It's great because there's kind of a physical coziness to this tea, while at the same time having crisp, sweet, pleasurable, fresh notes. It's really just a pleasant balance.
And, like, these teas, too, don't lack in just sort of substance to them. And, like, this is not some flavorless brew despite its color.
Oh,
it's
yeah.
Like, it's full flavor, full body.
Oh, right.
Just very tasty overall.
Yeah. Substantive. Yeah, really, overall.
Right.
Pretty awesome. What is this, Steep 3?
Steep 4. So we'll probably call it here, but we'll definitely continue to drink this tea.
Let's keep going.
Cheers.
Yeah.
So how do you think this tea is as far as Taiwanese oolongs, high mountain oolongs go?
Really nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's got great balance. There's nothing sticking out that's a little off-putting. I think potentially even the rinse might have been drinkable. So just in terms of the quality, it seems really quite good.
That's right, Rinse Drinker 42. I got my rinse right here in my tea tray. I'm gonna do a little slurpy.
It's like that scene in that, what's that wine movie where he drinks
sideways?
He drinks the whole sideways, he drinks the whole wine. Oh my God.
Yeah. Drink the whole tea tray.
Yeah.
No, that's what we feed to Stevie because he messed up our headspace.
Yeah, Stevie! Oh, man. Overall, what a delicious oolong. I mean, so to your point, is this a great oolong? I think it really is because there are some that are just kind of blasé and like meh.
Yeah.
So you're not going to have some revolutionary, crazy experience drinking a really high quality jade oolong that's really different than the other ones. It's just going to have a velvetyness and a sweetness and a longevity and it's going to be delicious. It's more that the lower quality ones are just not that good. They just taste kind of boring. They're thin. They're not as balanced.
They might get bitter a little more easily.
Could potentially get a little bit bitter. And you can also see a little bit by the leaf quality potentially. Sometimes there's some cutting around the edges and things like that. Yeah. Whatever. This is be a great example of a oolong to pick up. I don't know where and how people can do that, James.
Tributary Teas. So you can check them out. I think they're a relatively new vendor. Last question. Would this tea pass the date test?
Oh, God.
Well, I know people have been asking us for years to give our wisdom on how to woo. Not woo-wee, but woo.
Still, that's terrible pun out of my mouth.
Come on, let's get rid of this headspace.
I know, dude. Yeah. I'm trying to. It's all good. Yeah, we're cool. Anyway, so. I know. I fucked it up. Well, this is a great date tea. Actually, I'd have to say, yeah, I would think so. Any tea that you can't mess up is going to be a good date tea.
Yeah.
Any tea that has a wide appeal, I'd say, would be a good date tea.
Yeah. Yeah, don't serve old raw puer on a date. This is not easy to mess up. So I think this passes all the tests.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Any dating advice for our audience?
Serve this tea. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe that's kind of weird to try to serve this tea on an early date, but go for it. I mean, whatever.
Yeah, just be interested in what they're up to in their life.
Is the segment that no one asked for.
Yeah. Just ask questions about what they're interested in, and then say what you're interested in.
Yeah. I'm into this tea.
Maybe you guys like tea, maybe you don't. Maybe she thinks that you liking tea is really cool.
Yeah. He or she.
Yeah. Probably not, though, so maybe just don't.
Yeah. Just more like a 7th date sort of tea. Don't do it on the first date.
Dude, I would... When I was single, I would tell people that I had a tea YouTube channel first thing.
And did they walk out the door?
I felt like it's a good litmus test because, honestly, there's a certain crazy that it takes to do this.
Yeah.
And I think that if they know up front what they're getting themselves into...
Yeah.
It just eliminates a lot of confusion.
Uh-huh.
So maybe just lead with the particularities.
Yeah.
Lead with your true self.
And on those words,
check us out at TeaDB.org.
Yeah, check out Tributary Teas. They got lots of Taiwanese oolongs, easy crowd favorites for sure.
Dude, yeah, really good.
Yeah, they have a light roast also from Lishan that
which
they sent us, which we might bring on at a future date.
Right, totally. Yeah, really good. TeaDB.org. Subscribe if you want more shenanigans. The next episode will have better headspace configurations. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, and more dating advice to come.
See you guys next time. We're doing more dating.